Happy day to you and welcome to the Theater Freedom Project. Before we get started, like, subscribe, and share this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful YouTube channel. Have you ever thought about what happens when we make our transition, when we die? What we know is death. It doesn't exist. And so I know I have thought about that ever since I was a kid. Like, what happens? Where do you go? What's going on? What does God do? Who is God? What is he doing? And where do our loved ones go? And so we are talking about a spirit chandler. She is here to tell us what's happening on the other side. And she had a near death experience. So I'm so interested in what happens there. So that's what we are getting into today. Stay tuned. Hello, 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 and happy day to you. Welcome to the Fit of Freedom Project. I am so excited today. I'm always excited when I have such a special guest that I am bringing here. This is Davette D. Hello, Miss Davette D. You are on the Fit of Freedom Project. Thank you for accepting my invitation, sister.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. I'm
You are
excited
so
too.
welcome. Yeah, good. We are doing our thing here, and I want to read her bio. I want you all to know just how wonderful she is. All right. This is Davette. She was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Roll Tide,
Woo-hoo-hoo.
baby.
On a beautiful Monday morning at 5:45 a.m., Davette came into the world with a spark of divine purpose. Her mother, a musical prodigy, soon discovered her exceptional talent when she was just 3 years old. By the age 4, she was already training her singing. She was training as a singer, embracing jazz as her first love. And at the tender age of 6 years old, she won Little Miss Alabama contest, setting the stage for a lifelong passion of music. Her journey in the arts took her to the bright lights of Broadway, where she performed in numerous musicals on and off Broadway. Yet her heart led her to another calling, and that is working with children for the last 22 years. Devette dedicated herself as a behavioral interventionist technician in the Charlotte Mecklenburg school system. Using research based interventions, she brought fairness, consistency, and balance into the lives of countless children, leaving a lasting impact. I can attest to that. Beyond her professional achievements, Davette is a proud mother of two daughters. Motherhood, she says, is her most challenging, successful, and rewarding experience that she has had so far.
Yeah.
Providing a home filled with love, compassion, and stability, she guided her daughters through life's ups and downs with unwavering support and education or dedication. Devet is a true lover of humanity. I love this part. Living a life committed to making the world a better place. With a deep faith and a heart full of compassion, she embodies the spirit of a true champion for humanity. Her journey is a testament to the power of love, dedication, and a belief in the goodness of all people. Oh, yay! I love to read
Absolutely.
that bio.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, yes.
I call
Well, what?
myself I call myself the inspirational cheerleader for mankind. I just believe that we all should have someone inspiring, uh, conspiring with us, supporting us and making sure that we feel supported. So many things can show us where we are not supported. So I really feel very passionate about showing people that you can be supported. Support yourself. Support yourself.
Yeah, I
Be your
love
own
that. I
cheerleader.
love that. Well, I want to let my audience know how we met.
Yes.
And so we met in the school system where I was practicing social work, and Davette came to my school, and she was summoned because we had some children that had some special behavioral needs, intervention needs. And so she came in with full power, walking in inch heels. And I thought to myself, geez, I didn't even think, wow, these heels are too high to be in here. What is she gonna do? I just thought to myself, man, she is coming in here to do some work. I don't know what it was. And so we instantly connected, and we became not just professional colleagues, but we became spirit sisters. And I
Absolutely.
know now that, yeah, we kind of we set that thing up in the cosmos, right?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. We became instant sisters. Um, and it has our relationship has just continued to evolve into deeper and deeper,
Mhm.
deeper sisterhood. So
Yes.
I'm telling you, those years that we worked together, children and families benefited because not only
Mm.
was I uh, exceptional behaviorist, but you are an exceptional social worker. You were born to do it. You've always said that. And I
Mm.
know that this isn't about you, but this part is about you. So you
Yeah.
brought out the best behavioral information that I could give. And it just was a very supportive environment for children. And that's what children need. We don't have enough of that. We
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
have
I
enough of that.
appreciate that. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you so much. So it's been a pleasure. So I am going to kind of dive right in to the reason why you are here. You have had a near death experience, and you are a spirit channeler. And so I am very interested, and I know that the audience is going to be interested. I've crafted some questions here. We have been having this discussion now for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And I would say 2 years ago, the audience probably, I have settled and leaned into the spirit realm and all that's happening in the world that we can't see. But 2 years ago, I was completely and utterly shocked. Okay. So, want to ask, I would like for you to let people know, like, when did you know that you were able to channel spirits from the other side?
Oh, well, okay. I didn't know that's what it was. I was a little girl. So I wouldn't have known that that was some spirit from the other side. I just had no idea. I just knew that I could see and sense um, spirits that were in my room. And I, I guess I was maybe 7-ish
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
I could recognize it. So it wasn't that I knew that this was channeling or anything like this. I was a child. I was in my bedroom, and my grandmother and my sister slept down the hall from me. And so my bedroom was in the front of the house, and um, there was a door that led to a hallway that the bathroom was there in that hallway, and my grandmother would often uh, have the light very, very dim because the door opened to their room, so the light would bother them. This kind of lend itself to the setting. So I was a little girl, and I would see when my grandmother would close the door um, a little bit more than I felt comfortable with. I could see them, I could sense them, I could hear them. So that's how it first happened. It was nothing scary or anything like that, but it was scary to
Okay.
me as a kid because I'm not sure what's
Mhm.
going on. And I'm not sharing it with the
Yeah.
adults because, what do you say? Hey, there's somebody talking to me. So there was
Mm.
a lot of just kind of going inside and thinking that this was the ghost that people talked about on, Casper the Friendly Ghost and stuff like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
I really don't remember. I just remember that that's when I first knew something was going on, but I didn't know to call it channeling.
Right. And so when you were young and you sensed those spirits, did they talk to you? Did you talk to them? Like, At what age? So that's at 7. So was it like at 15 or at 10? Or like, how did you know? Like, when did you begin to know?
Around 13, I
Okay, what
began to.
happened?
I don't really remember what happened.
Hmm.
Well, it was probably before then, probably before 13. There was prayer going on in my house, and um, I just I could feel the spirit in a way that no one else could. I didn't think anyone else could sense it, and I could hear the spirit, and it was over my sister. So, and I don't want to get into that part of the story because later I will definitely go deeper into it. But I think that was my first time understanding that there was a spiritual world that
Mm,
coexists
mm.
with us all the time.
Wow.
Spirit world that exists with us all the time. I remember as a kid, we were going to Florida once. We were going on a cruise for spring break. And as we were going down to Miami, we were driving to Miami, there was a car, two cars just hauling behind, flying. They were just going so fast. And everybody else, because it was a police car chasing a car, had to move over. As we get down the road to see where they are going because they turn off of the highway, there was nothing out there but a marsh. So everybody on that road at that time saw the spirit realm, and we didn't know and could not explain it. It sounds crazy, but our the spirit realm and our realm exist simultaneously at all times. So y- we see apparitions. We may get a glimpse of something, and we're wondering what it is. Well, it is the spirit realm. Sometimes, I'm not sure what happens and why we get to see it, but it is there and we all can access it. So it's not like a gift just for the select. It is for everybody. The spirit
Well,
realm
well, that's
doesn't do it like that.
well, that's funny that you say that. I laugh, I chuckle about that because I remember the first time that you brought a spirit, my ancestors through, and I really only thought that this gift was for certain people. I did not know that we all had access. And I remember you saying, you can do this too. And I thought, I don't want spirits to just be coming and talking to me. But yeah, it has
Yeah.
happened now. 2 years later, I can say that,
Mm.
it has happened and
Right.
it continues to happen. It's not just happened once, it's happening like all the time, the more that I access and open up and allow. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I would
It
like to know.
it
I'm
does. It
sorry.
happens just like that. I mean, you can be at a point where you cannot allow it, or because of your we never can see past our limitations. Don't forget that. We just can't.
What does that mean when you say that? Can you explain that?
Yeah, yeah, our limitations are blinders, or mm, you can equate them to anchors that holds us in a place or a state of mind where you can't see past that situation. So it's hard to see past your limitations. Whatever you have a limit with, if say it's going into the spirit realm and being able to um, access and talk. And I don't think everybody should do it. I think that you should mature to it, and you should be led by your own spirit. I do believe that. But it is real and it does happen for everyone that allows it. Let me say that. It happens when you allow it to happen. If you
Hmm.
don't, there's a limitation, and so you can't see past it.
So is it like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear kind of thing?
Absolutely. Um,
Okay.
if you're looking for a teacher, if you are in a state of mind where you can allow a teacher, and not be hung up on teacher meaning someone outside of yourself. Uh, because the
Mm,
teacher can show up
wow.
inside of you. You, I know that there are, I've forgotten his name, shaman,
Shaman Durek,
yeah, who says to be your own uh, guru.
guru.
Well, you and I have been talking for years, and I've been saying the same thing.
Hmm.
You don't need me to do something that you can do, but if you're not ready to do it, then you do need someone that can do it for you until you can get there. Th- this notion that you'll never get there is a limiting thought and belief right there. So you won't get there because you're only what you are because you're the thinker of all of your thoughts and the manifester of everything
Wow.
that happens into your world. And so, with that being said, yes, you can do it. What's the hardest
That's
thing? The
mhm.
hardest thing is allowing. The hardest thing is believing that you can turn your alarm system on and it can arm you from within, and you can speak to those who may have gone on before you, your ancestors. You can speak to God. If you can speak to your ancestors, then you've got to be able to speak to God.
Yeah, okay. Wow. So yeah, you're right. Okay, this is pretty interesting because I know that somebody's watching because even I had these questions. And I think that some people think that it's maybe scary, you can't wrap they can't wrap their minds around the fact that
Absolutely.
their loved one is not what we consider dead. And I know that we always talked about, at least I heard my mother saying, absent from the body is present with the spirit. So that means, you're present with God, but then what happens next? You know what I'm saying? Like what
Hmm.
happens after that? And what I'm learning with your support and with what I'm reading and is that there is an entire world that is functional. It is quite functional. We don't see it, but it is very much functional like we are. And this is not our home.
No.
We're visiting.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that true?
It is functional, it is supportive, it is loving, it is compassionate, is a perfect system that resides inside internally inside of you. Oh my God, it's a perfect system. I mean, it is the system that balances your body. Well, I'm sick. Well, get unsick in your mind, and then your body will be in balance. Will be back in balance because it all starts in the thinker. It all starts in the thought. It all starts in a realm where we have to allow our alarm system. And when I'm talking about alarm system, I'm talking about your internal God core alarm system that leads us into all truths of who He is or who the the Spirit of God is, which is love.
Mm.
That's all it is.
So, how do you navigate the boundaries between the spirit world and earth? Because you are in between both. And I don't know, I've had some experiences, but you have them that are quite different. You have spirits that come to you, you hear them, you see, you feel their presence or whatever. And maybe it's on a regular basis. Like, how do you navigate both worlds to maintain your sanity?
Mm. Maturity, because I couldn't do this when I was at a place where my limitation would cut off access to my growth. So everything happens in steps and stages. You said earlier when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's such an internal thing for me. And when I was ready, my teacher appeared and appeared in uh, videos. African studies teachers. It just was a myriad of things for me to get here. I started my journey a long time ago. So, how do I balance myself? Meditation. Meditation is key. Meditation is healthy. Meditation is grounding. Meditation actually helps to shut out the ego realm from me, or the realm of me just thinking that it's me, and it closes that voice off, and it allows for my spirit man to be awakened, and I know the difference between my spirit and my ego. Not all the time. We all have times where we vacillate, but meditation, when in those vacillations, is really truly what helps you to become grounded, to become um, aware of how your internal voice even sounds. Some of us don't even know how our internal voice sounds. We're,
Yes.
we're so bogged down with heavy opinions from others that we don't understand the value of our own voice, which then shuts down our internal alarm systems. And we're going off of someone else's experience, which is nothing but a limitation. And you can't see past that. So,
Mm.
balance comes in not just meditation, but prayer. Prayer is nothing but a constant conversation between you and your higher power. That is all it is, words spoken. And it's one of the reasons that we have to be so watchful over the words that we use over ourselves and others
Yeah.
because of this, you know, because
Yes. Okay. That
uh,
makes.
because of balance. We want to be balanced. What I say about you, I'm saying about myself. Is that balance? No. So then, where do I find that balance internally inside of me? It is not in a podcast or a radio show or someone else giving you an opinion about something. It's inside of you. Connect to
But
it.
would you say that is so very true? Okay. If if it's not in a podcast, would you say that the universe allows that information to come through podcasts and books and everything like that? I hear you. Does that make sense what I'm saying? That the
It absolutely does. And I love the way the Bible says it. He says, it's over in Revelation where it talks about that they overcame by the blood of the lamb, meaning the new idea of God, the not a new idea, but the risen idea of the perfect idea of God. So they overcame by the blood of the lamb meaning Jesus, and the words of your testimony, of their testimony, meaning that somebody else went through the same thing and was able to talk you through it. Yes, we do get our information from others. However, here is the qualifying statement for me. Does this weigh more in my importance than what my internal voice is saying to me? And if so, then I'm being driven more by someone else's opinion versus me listening to myself.
okay, okay. So we have to learn to trust ourselves more.
You've got to learn to trust yourself. And that comes
Trust
from,
your inner voice.
yes, absolutely. And it
Okay.
comes from reframing your own importance in your life. That
Mm,
if you feel that you uh, need someone else, figure out what it is about you that you haven't valued enough,
mm, yeah.
that you need someone else to value more. And it starts
Mm,
with that whole self imagery thing. It starts with the whole remembering who you are. And I'm going to tell you who you are. I'm looking dead in this camera and I want you to hear me. Who you are is the oneness of Jesus, the oneness of God, which is all oneness. We are all connected. We're all interconnected. There is no separation between you and your creator. You get to co-create. The most beautiful thing he gave us was the ability to have choice. which choice gives us the ability to do what? Co-create. Which what is co-creating? Directions to what? The universe of desires we want, desires we desire to have. That's our conversation, which is nothing but prayer. I want the
Mm,
best for you. You want the best for me? I want the best
mm.
for me. You know, that
Yes,
whole
yes.
symbiotic, that whole relationship, reframing how love should look internally
It's
is very important.
interesting. I'm so glad that you are bringing out the differences. I didn't see it that way. The way that I was raised in a Christian environment, it was taught to me a little bit differently. And I would say that I felt separated from God until I started to practice spirituality and understand what spirituality meant. And I don't want to bash the church because I learned a lot. Church served me. I It was beautiful in some instances, but I always had questions. In most instances, things did not add up to me. But I don't think that I had the courage to even ask or challenge, or I just kind of went along, or either you either go along or you rebel, right?
Right, right. You know, I feel that the church is the inward door in. That's all it
Okay.
represents is an inward door into your inside because you're the church. There's not a building
Mm,
that's the church. You're the church. You're his first family. You you are the hands and feet of God. You are the church. And everything that you do as the church of Davette, as the church of Deborah, as the church
mm,
of Jose, or as the church of Juan. I don't know who you are, where you're going to see this, but I need you to understand how important you are, how you are God's favorite child, how you are the oneness of your creator. No one else. You need not worry about anyone else but yourself. Once you start to see yourself correctly, now I want to say correctly means seeing yourself as God sees you. How does God see you? Perfect. Mm, but you don't know what I did last night. Okay. I don't care because you're perfect. You don't know how many mistakes I've made. It's okay. You're perfect. And being able to divorce yourself from the limitations that keep you believing that you're somehow some throwaway child of the universe, that you've been put here not to succeed, not to have oneness, but to deal in duality and polarity, that you are some kind of way separate or separate from your creator. Those things are the limiting beliefs that keeps our alarm systems from working properly. You've got to
mm.
believe in your oneness. You have to believe
Wow.
that you are perfect and the
Wow.
compassion of
Wow.
God is for you. You've got to see yourself the way God sees you. Any other way is believing in a duality that says
Mm,
you're here and he's there. No,
yeah.
you're here and he's here.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. That really gives me a lot of comfort. I hope that it is giving people comfort. What do you say? Like, is there, um, you had an experience, a near death experience, or a near life experience, however you want to say
I love
it,
that.
right?
I love the near
Uh,
life experience.
I heard
Now,
that on
now,
a
sis,
podcast. So,
I need to put my glasses on so I can see you, huh?
okay. Yes, yes, that's fine. You had a near life experience. I heard that on a podcast because, yeah, there is no death. So I thought that I would say that. Will you, when did you have that NDE?
My NDE happened in 2018.
2018. Will you share with us?
October 18th, 2018, I was in a car accident. I had a pie business and I was dropping off some pies to my daughter's job. A client had ordered them. And as I was coming back home, had pies in the oven, and so I was rushing to get back home. Um, there was a guy who comes out and hits me head on. And I was doing a pretty decent amount of speed coming down a hill. Um, and at that moment, I didn't know what happened. So I'm going to tell you the story the way it happened. And then I want to go back and give you some insight from what was told to me. And so as we collided, I'm fighting the airbags, trying to get away from them because they're coming, they're exploding, and I didn't. My girlfriend had her nose broken by one, and I guess that was what was playing in my mind subconsciously. I really don't know what it was, but I'm fighting against this um, because my car now has turned, and my car is going toward a telegram post, but I'm unaware of this. My door on the opposite side of the car opens up and I see my spirit leave. And I'm taken aback, like, oh my God, as I try to rush to get to my spirit because it's outside the car. I touched my spirit. And at that moment, there was mm, there was a peace, a love. It felt like time did not exist because if you can imagine putting a videotape in I'm dating myself and I'm okay with that. So the old VCRs for the young kids. You have to put the tape in. You gotta hit rewind because someone didn't rewind it after they watched the movie. So now you have to rewind. That is how my life looked. I could see everything. I could see all of my experiences. And there were some that I didn't always recognize in this life, but it was there, my life, my whole existence. I saw myself inside of my mom's stomach. That's how deep it was. But this was just a matter of seconds. So finally, I guess I get out into my body, into my spirit, and my body reach together. I'm not sure if I'm even explaining this correctly, but there was a man that was there. I don't know where this guy went to. He was immediately outside of my car because I followed my spirit and now I'm outside of the car and the car is going on to hit the telegram post, but I'm standing in the middle of the road. So some kind of way I got out of a moving car, moving. I see this and now the car is hitting the telegram post. And there was a man standing right beside me. And he asked me, was I okay? And I was confused. And I guess I said, okay. I was looking for my phone and he gave me his phone. And I called my daughter. Um, and I never saw that guy again. It would be months later before I could even process all of it because it happened in a split second, but it was so much to happen in a split second. Later on, I asked what happened. Like, how did this experience even come about? I wanted to know during meditation, I wanted to know. And the impact of that hit was so hard that my spirit left my body. It was to be a fatal accident. I guess I chose for it not to be. But through meditation and through countless hours of processing the situation and just allowing Holy Spirit to process it for me, if that's what you want to call it, I call it the Holy Spirit. It began to explain to me what happened in my near death experience, and it left me feeling like a black hippie. I'm full of love and compassion for others. I am, I am, I am the number one cheerleader for mankind because what I understand is that this isn't the final destination. Our final destination is so much more beautiful than we even talk about or can express. um, that there is a love that is so complete that you can't even fathom dying because there is no death. There's no death, no matter what. And the Bible even talks about that. There's
What do you say to people who believe that, though, who still, people struggle when their loved ones transition, and I get it because they're not here, but if there's no death and we're always one with them and we will see them again, how do we help? How can you help people like not to suffer in that way? Because there's a lot of suffering, a lot of grief when it comes to death
yeah.
or the loved one making a transition. Is there any way that, what do you say to people that are struggling with
Well, allow yourself to feel your family member that's gone. They want to be felt. They want you to allow them to be felt. That's one way. I, honestly, you're not going to accept anything about this process until limitations have been taken off of your mind. I understand this is the way that we've been trained to believe about death. But there's so much information out there. There's so many people who've had NDs that near death experiences that come, they have books and they come back and they tell us that, hey, there's no death the way that we believe it to be death. The veil of the veil of this world and the next plane is what makes us believe this fictitious uh, picture of death, because we can't touch the person tangibly, but you can touch the person in your mind tangibly, and you can always ask your loved one to show you in a kind way, in a loving way, that they're okay. And a lot of times they show you through people like me, through people who can talk to them and that isn't afraid to speak to them.
that?
If
I
you
know
are,
that it, oh,
go ahead.
I apologize. No, no, I know that it was very comforting to me whenever you channeled my father,
Well,
aside
now
from it
your
being
father was a
very,
little different.
why?
Yeah, your father was different. Well, first of all, he set up his own channeling.
What do you mean?
Well, remember when I called you, the phone was nowhere near me. So let me go back and tell them what happened. So her
Oh,
father
yes.
came through at I don't know, I guess a gathering that she was having, but he set the gathering up. So let me explain. I'm at Walmart. Deb and I haven't spoken in a while. We often spoke, but it would be, days or weeks in between sometimes our phone calls. So we hadn't spoken at this time in a while. I'm at Walmart and all of a sudden there's a phone call through Instagram that comes up. First of all, I don't call on Instagram. I didn't even know Instagram had a feature where you could call. I
Mm,
didn't, just
yeah, I'm
didn't.
gonna go ahead and tell you, I didn't even know that either. That was like 2 years, I had no clue.
And so we began to have a conversation and I told her that I'll come over. All the while I'm thinking, now how did that happen? Like what
Mhm.
am I witnessing? So I get to your house and we're talking and we're just having a great time. Deb and I, when we're together, first of all, it's all about laughs, it's all about fun, it's all about the love. And so
Yeah.
we're just doing our regular thing. And all of a sudden, your dad appears.
Yeah.
Now, I had seen her father back in 2014. I think it was when he first transitioned.
Mhm.
But when I walked into her office, I wasn't very comfortable with sharing that I had a gift with anyone. And I still
Yeah.
feel that way from time to time. Deb is very protective of me. Thank you. And so as I walked into her office, I saw him and I instantly said, nope,
Yeah, I didn't even know.
nope. So I
We had
wasn't,
just met. Yeah. My dad had
yeah,
just
it would have been
transitioned the end
really
of
awkward.
2013. Yeah.
It's so it would be years later, and he comes in, and I tell Deb, I said, "Well, your dad is behind you." We were having a conversation in some kind of way.
Yeah.
He ma-
I screamed.
he
I screamed. I don't
manufactured
know if
this
you remember.
whole thing, the whole conversation that led flawlessly into him showing up. I mean, this was divinely ordered. Nothing
Yeah.
we did. And so when he shows up, I finally say, I say, "Hey, well, your dad is right behind you and he wants to give you a hug." And she could feel him.
Yeah, yeah, it
Mhm.
was pretty. It was. I'm gonna say what I said then. It was weird. It was very weird. It was at least a little scary. Just the first moment when you say he's behind you, and of course I screamed. But then my first question was, "Does he love me?" And you said, "Oh my gosh, he loves you so much." And so that just opened up an entire doorway, an entire portal for me. It confirmed, it answered all of the questions. It just seemed
Yeah,
like everything, but I was overwhelmed. I'm not going to tell you because I remember the next day that you called me and you said your dad, are you okay? Your dad says a lot of things are going through your head. And I, being who I am, wanted to resist so that I could be like, this is not true. You know what I'm saying? Like the first thing I thought was, let me resist this. No, nothing's going through my head. My head was like this. There was so much stuff going through my head. I didn't know what to do. And then I finally said, yes, I finally surrendered and said, yes, there's a lot of things going through my head because I was like, did this
yeah.
just happen? Listen, human beings, we
It
can be
it
special.
well, it was weird. It was weird because first of all, I had no idea, and most of the time I can they pre-warn me. Like, well, not all the time. That isn't true.
Mm,
Just the way he orchestrated this. He called you. He set up the meeting. I mean, it was like, what in the world is going on? It he set it up where there could be no mistaking that this had been divinely done. Like he made sure that we couldn't take any of the
the credit, like no ego
yeah,
can peek in there. Yeah, we can't
no,
say we did this, and I was still trying to like this didn't happen. Ain't nothing going through my head, all in resistance. But I have, yeah, I've ended the resistance. I mean, there's really no reason to deny what has happened, and after it's 2 years later, so I don't want to get on me. I want to continue with you because this is not going to be your first time here. I know that you will come back
absolutely.
and because we have to serve humanity in such an amazing way together, and we have always worked well together. But I want to ask you, has your perspective, like, does your belief about consciousness, has it changed based on or because of your near death experience? Or did your awareness of consciousness was already there, or your understanding of it?
Well, I was going through um, evolution when my accident happened. So in 2012, my divine voice said to me that I need you to move from believing. And I'm like, what? Oh no, I believe. I believe. I'm just pulling for my limitation. No, I don't. Listen, I believe. You can't tell me because I really believe. And so finally I said, well, what's more than believing? Finally, instead of resisting, I finally asked the question. Very important when you're talking to God. Have the right words, the right questions to yield the right answer. And so finally I asked, I said, well, what's what's more than believing? And immediately my divine spirit, my internal alarm says, "Hmm, knowing. See, in believing, there's a vacillation. If someone else comes with a brighter idea or better expression of an opinion, you might could go their way. But listen, you never move off of knowing. Knowing is knowing. And you know no matter what. So I need you to move from believing into knowing. That is where I was. I was in the midst of evolving, of an evolution. Now that was in 2012. The accident, of course, wouldn't happen until 2018. But by the time the accident happened, my my thought of consciousness had changed just based on what spirit was teaching me more about myself, more about my interaction, more about my oneness. And so when I had that near death experience, um, a lot of it was confirming uh, of the things that I was learning, that you're right on track. You're right on track when it comes to compassion. You're right on track when it comes to oneness. You're right on track when it comes to love. The
Mm,
things that began to peel back after my near death experience was my low self esteem.
mm, mm,
Mm, hmm Because I had to re esteem myself in the image and likeness of the Creator. I had to re esteem myself and like me the way God loved me. Mm. So that is where um, I was when that near death experience, and it just accelerated. When I tell you I became a black hippie,
mm.
I don't
Have,
care.
mm,
I am that. I
mm.
hear nature. That's why I'm always out in it. I get to
Yeah.
talk to it, and it talks back. Nature has ears.
Yes, I
And
know. I
so
mean, if I wasn't your friend,
you would
I
think I was
would
crazy.
probably I mean, I wouldn't think that you were crazy because I believe that God is so much bigger than what I was taught. But you have to admit that it's a little weird when your mind has been conditioned a certain way. But I know you, and yes, yes, you talk to everything. It's
I
so
do.
funny, but
I
it's
do. And
very enlightening.
I didn't have that spatial awareness, or I didn't have that awareness, I should say,
Mm.
um, before this. And this didn't happen overnight. You know, this was me walking my dog in a tree talking.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my God, I know I'm going batshit crazy, but it wasn't.
No, you're not.
It
I am so
wasn't.
here to tell you you're not.
It wasn't. It wasn't. And when I asked that tree, I said, "How are you doing?" And the tree said, "Same." And no matter when you ask me, it will always be the same because I'm a
Wow.
tree, and that's
It's
all I
funny to
want to
think
be.
that we think we're the only living things around. Like we get it. Oh, plants live. We give it water, it grows, but it is just much more. It's much deeper than that. It's not just pretty and sitting around the outside and aesthetically, making our homes look good or our
Right.
houses look good, but there are earth or people who can attach to nature. I have a niece and she can grow anything. I mean anything, right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
she talks to her plants and things like that. So
And so then
I
why
wanna
do they respond? Then why do they respond? If they can't hear, if there's some inanimate object that
that's a
cannot,
good question.
so what is it about them that makes them respond? Because they have the consciousness of God, and everything has the consciousness of it. And so Tree said,
Wow.
and I know that this sounds a little weird when I say Tree said, the same. And the last part was, and why don't you be conscious of who you are? You can be conscious of who you are. Then you turn your alarm system on. Something to those to that extent. He didn't use those words, but that's what
Right.
I gathered from it. The same is what he said, and that he's only conscious of being treat that particular treat. So,
You
I just
know,
go ahead.
no, what's so good about now is that there we are coming to a place in evolution where we can actually have these conversations. Like if we had these conversations like 10 years ago or whatever, like people would be saying that we're the devil and they would be trying to pray for us and all of this stuff, you know. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
really
and see
excited about the fact that you can sit here and share this information and it is, I know you to be true. Okay.
yeah,
I know you to be very authentic because you brought my daddy through. And it ain't nowhere in the world you could have known all of that stuff because I never told you. So yeah,
mm,
I'm really excited about that. I want to ask you just a couple more questions because we are running out of time. Gosh, we could go through this for a long time. But I wanted to ask you, do you recall like a particularly transformative message that a spirit gave to you that would be impactful? Is it something that you remember, like something special that was transformative and just very distinctive that a spirit said to you and you saw that manifest?
and I saw it manifest.
Mhm.
Oh, countless things. I manifest countless things, um, and see them through. I just manifest me a trip from, to Vegas and LA.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
one thing you asked me, is there
Any
anything that a
something
spirit has
particular
said to me? The tree?
in terms of not so much like us, but in terms of what we see in humanity, what's happening in the world, in the earth realm right now.
Oh, mm, yeah. Um, gosh, spirit talks to me all the time about humanity, and the one thing that spirit speaks more than anything about humanity, is the compassion and love piece. Here recent, I was in a meditation, and it was said that, listen, I need you to stop believing that compassion is a mamsy pamsy act. It's an act of strength, um, that for lack of better term, and it wasn't really strength, that's the word, but for us to understand it here clearly, it's strength. It's a state of strength, compassion. Because compassion says that I believe God in me can do what he did for me for you. There's no respecter of person. I believe that the love that God has for me is the same love he has for you. And so I'm going to believe that this situation, whatever the situation is, and listen, I've been through a lot. I have been homeless in 1994. And so, the same God that brought me out of homelessness can bring you out of depression. The same spirit that manages the universe, that says that I will never leave you nor forsake you, is, is, is managing you and making sure that you are getting the highest good. I really believe in Romans 8 and 28, where it says that all things work together uh, together for good for those who love the Lord. And I truly
Mhm.
believe that. And it's not about a love that means you need to go into a church and be baptized to witness that love. Every morning that we get to get up and breathe and say hello and get to talk to our loved ones and get to reach um, humanity in whatever way that we see fit,
Yeah.
the way that we're being told to do it. That is compassion. So I think, to answer that, to put a cap on that answer, that's one of the strongest things Spirit has ever talked to me about: compassion,
Mm. Yeah.
compassion, compassion, compassion. And not looking at compassion like it's an act of weakness, but truly understanding that it is the most warring thing you could ever do.
Mm.
And
Mm.
its war is a peaceful war. It's not
Mm.
looking for peace through war. It's being the peace that sustains the compassion for whatever you're going through, whatever you're warring through. I hope that makes
Thank you for that. Yes, thank you for that. Compassion is always important. I love the fact that I'm compassionate, always have been. But one thing I had to learn is self compassion. And so that has just been really big. Before we go, do you feel a sense of purpose or a sense of mission now since you had the NDE, and also since you are leaning into allowing others to know what your spiritual gift is? Do you feel a sense of purpose to connect people to their loved ones in the spirit realm to help them to, solve some problems here on earth? Do you feel a sense of mission for that?
I feel more a sense of mission, not for the living, but for those who have crossed over. I'm often
Okay.
open to them. I'm not that I don't think about us over here, but we think it's frustrating, like trying to connect with our loved ones. Well, there are loved ones that's trying to connect to people. They've been trying to connect to people for 50 years.
Mm,
They still
yeah.
haven't connected. So my not compassion, but my passion is to hear correctly from the spirit realm, to have clarity when I'm speaking um, to someone's loved one, uh, not just for this side, but for this side, to be able to. Your dad had been wanting to say that since I met you in 2014. I think the whole reason, what you don't know, was that I had put in for retirement then before I went to the school. I wasn't even coming to that school. I got a phone call the day that I put in the paperwork for early retirement. Then, that was in 2014. Yeah,
Wow. Did
that's what
not know
you
that.
that's what you didn't know. And
Yeah.
that day, the principal called, and for some reason, I couldn't turn the dadgum thing down. I I believe
My
that
daddy.
there is such a force that happens and works on behalf of us to get the cooperating components to line up so things can work, and
Yeah.
and evolution can continue to happen, because that's the bigger picture of it all, that the God picture unfolds. And that's what happened for uh, that time. I believe that ancestors are setting things up for us to win,
Yes, they are. Yes, I can attest to that. Yes, they are.
win
And oh my gosh, before we go, we are going to have you back. Well, just so the audience know that we are a part of each other's tribe. So if there's someone that would like personal readings, or they would like to spend some personal time with you, how could they reach you?
through you.
Okay.
They can
You
they can
are so cute.
they can email me, or email an attention to uh, Deb. Let's see. Let me put my
Dr.
glasses
Davette.
on.
Okay, put your glasses on.
It is Dr. Deb at Fear to Freedom project.com. You can put attention to that. Just call me D,
Yeah.
and get in touch with me through that. I am on Facebook as Davette Mahan. Um, I rarely do things through Facebook like that. However,
Yeah.
if you reach out through to the Freedom to
Get a freedom.
Fear to Freedom project. I'm so sorry.
No, this is
Mhm.
okay because this is spirit of freedom. You understand? Because you are now here on a channel where people are going to see you. And that when I met you, of course, you didn't even tell me. I didn't know anything about this until 6 years later, that we had already been friends. So I hope that you can see your fear to freedom action and your fear to freedom step in this whole process, because I can, and I am so very proud of you. I really am, for accepting this invitation and coming on this platform and talking about what is unseen.
Mhm.
Yeah, the world that is unseen. And I really thank you. I know that there are lots of people, because when I share my story, a lot of people want to, talk with you. So we have built a tribe, and we have built uh, a programs and ways
Yeah,
that we want to help people improve their human experience here and on this
yeah.
earth. That's what we are here for.
And thank you for your platform. Thank you for it, taking the reins and putting your voice
Mhm.
into a very important conversation that a lot of people really do want to have. I get stopped
Yeah,
all the time, or and not stopped by the living, but I have been in lines just here recently. I was in Walmart, and a child's grandmother came through, and I spoke to her about what the grandmother wanted me to say. And she asked the same question: how can I talk to you? How can I talk? Many people
yeah,
want to speak to their loved ones. It's not as easy as that sometimes because you don't know
yeah.
which loved one is going to come. Uh, I
Mm.
know you had a uncle to come through at one
A bunch
time.
of people you done brought. What? You done brought a whole slew.
So
When I tell you that was the doorway to now my ancestors, man, listen, I am excited about it. Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate you.
yeah. So
Well,
I, they can reach me through you, and I'll be more than
and I
happy.
think, and the reason why we have set it up this way to my audience is because we work in tandem. We are a great team. And sometimes this information, I know for me, it was overwhelming. So sometimes you will need some aftercare support,
Yes,
right? So we have
yes,
incorporated some support aftercare support so that you can process it and
hmm,
also have some support along the way in this evolution. Because listen, when you start unlearning what you learned and then start to like uncondition yourself and then start to embrace the truth and
right,
learning, and it takes practice. It really takes practice. So
absolutely.
yes, you will need
And
support with
as a
that.
behaviorist, as a behaviorist, what we understand is that once we take a behavior away, you have to replace it with something that's positive, or that behavior will start to grow, you know,
Hmm.
even more negative. So it's really important when you're uh, unconditioning yourself to recondition yourself with people that you can trust, that isn't out here trying to just get a dollar.
Yeah.
Dollars are very important. I love dollars. I,
Yes, yes. We love
there's
money.
there is no slight of speaking ill toward money because we love to circulate it. That isn't it. What I would
Yes.
like for people to do is to connect with true people that truly have gifts for purity, not just gifts to be, uh, you know, to hurt you. I don't. That would be
Yes.
the only thing that I wouldn't want
No
anyone to think.
exploitation.
No,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
No
we don't want to
exploitation.
be.
Right.
No, we don't want to be
So I'm not
exploited.
going to
That is
talk
not
to
okay.
somebody and say that, oh, they said this and this. That's not how a reading goes.
Mm-mm.
So please reach
No.
out to Dr. Deb, and she can give you the breakdown of how it works. She will send you back some questions. Yes,
Yes.
I have questions because we
Yes.
want to make sure that we're doing uh, having a fidelity check in our own spirit.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that of a fidelity check. Well, yes, anybody that knows me knows that I am authentic. There is no lies in me.
Very.
I'm never here to exploit anybody. I was sent here to earth to serve. So I didn't know that it was going to turn into such an amazing, expansive way, but I am open for it. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you coming. I know that you will come back. And for everyone, that I hope you enjoyed this episode, because this episode is touching the surface of the unknown, things that we have not at all felt comfortable talking about, but we can do that now. So I thank you. I love you. If you are new to this channel, Welcome to the Fear to Freedom Project. And if you are a returning champion, I thank you so much. I appreciate you. I will see you next episode. Peace and love.